The number of TVs sold increased from 70 to 98. Work out the percentage increase. So let's just demonstrate this using a bar. So we've gone from 70. Now this was what my starting amount was, so it's my 100%. And it's gone up to 98. So it's gone up by a certain amount, and the answer is 98. So the first thing I'm going to think is, well, what's missing here? So we've got 98, take away 70. If I need to, I can do a little column method. 8 take away 0 is 8, 9 take away 7 is 2. So we've got that it's increased by 28. Okay. Now I want to know, by what percentage did it increase by? So that's in relation to my original amount. So what I could say is that it's increased by this fraction. Now this fraction would be 28 out of 70. It's increased by that fraction. Now I want to know what percentage has it increased by. So we've got 28 and 70. What's the biggest number that goes into both? If I had a calculator, I could just put this on my calculator straight away. I don't, so I need to think of the biggest number and simplify. So the biggest number that goes in both is 14. 28 divided by 14 is 2. 70 divided by 14 is 5. So I've got 2/5. So it's increased by 2/5. To get from 70 to 28, it's an increase of 2/5. So 2/5 of 70 is 28, and I've added it on. So 2/5 is a fraction. I want it as a percentage. So now I need to think, well, percent means out of 100. So I need to think, how do I get from 5 to 100? Well, I'm timesing by 20. I need to times by 20 on the top. 2 times 20 is 40. So that's 40%. So it's a 40% increase. So it's gone from being 70. I found 40%, which is 28, and I've added it on. Now, there's a nice easy way that you can remember what you do to get the fraction, and that's the change over the original. So the change was 28 over the original 70. So that will get you your starting fraction, and you need to get it up to turn it into a percentage. The value of a painting rises from 120,000 to 192,000. Work out the percentage increase in the value of the painting. So if I'm going to use a bar, so this was our original amount, and that was 120,000. And then we added on a specific amount, which I'll figure out in a second. And that got us to 192,000. Let's figure out what we added on then, what we added on here. So 192,000 take away 120,000. 192,000 take away 120,000. So we added on 72,000. We want to know the percentage increase in the value of the painting. So what percentage did it increase by? So it increased by that 72,000 out of the original 120,000. So it's always out of the original. That's where this formula comes into play. Change over original. Okay, so we've got the 72,000. If I just copy that here, out of the original 120,000. And I can put that on my calculator. 72,000 out of 120,000. And that comes up as 0.6. That's a decimal. So to get to a percentage, I need to times by 100. I get 60%. So it's increased by 60%. So I found what 72,000 was as a percentage of 120,000. And it was 60% increase. So just to make that clear, 120,000, if I found 60% of it, I would get 72,000. Add them together, I get my total of 192,000. So if you want to, you can just remember this formula, change over original, which will get you a decimal. So you have to times by 100 to get the percentage. There is another way that you could do it. So you could use your multiplier. So we know that we're starting at 120,000. I know that I'm timesing by something. I'll be timesing by my decimal multiplier, but I don't know what that is at the moment. I know my answer is 192,000. If I do that backwards, 192,000 divided by 120,000, I get, so 192,000 divided by 120,000, I get 1.6. So that means that my multiplier I've times by 1.6. Now if I turn that into a percentage, remember to turn a decimal into a percentage, you need to times by 100. That's 160%. That means I started off with 100% and I added on 60%. So my increase is 60%, so it's a 60% increase. Now this tends to be a quicker way when you've got a calculator, but you can still use a calculator this way. So if you prefer method 1, use method 1, use the change over the original.